Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. It's Kathy Frey here from IMCO, from the International Integrative Maternity Healthcare Organisation. And welcome everybody today who's going to be popping in and joining us. And today we've got Kerry with us. Kerry, say hello.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have Kerry here with us again. Some of you may have called her before. We're talking on a slightly different topic today. But just let me give you a little bit of background on Kerry. She's founder and director of Hypnobabies, Childbirth Hypnosis, and a nationally renowned speaker and writer on a wide range of women's pregnancy and childbirth concerns. Her subjects include prenatal and childbirth choices, informed consent issues, health and low risk status concerns, comfort in childbirth, the power of birth language, and midwifery advocacy. As a childbirth educator for about 30 years and a doula and hypnotherapist, Kerry has developed many educational programs with birthing mothers, or for birthing mothers, I should say, and for medical and childbirth professionals as well as hypnotherapists. And these efforts have become immensely popular and have started quite a chain reaction in interest to change the way women give birth, how newborns are cared for, and the way natural childbirth is perceived by the general public as well as the medical community. And Kerry's created a very comprehensive natural childbirth program of her own, Hypnobabies Childbirth Education. But today we're going to be talking about a slightly different topic, and that is around fertility. And so welcome, Kerry. Do you want to maybe just give us a little bit more overview about yourself and what, your background on what we're talking about today?
Sure. I've been a childbirth educator for 30 years. I started teaching the Bradley method and then had both of my babies with it, and it was very painful. So I realized, there had to be another way, and I went and took some hypnotherapy classes, and because I had seen a show on television about hypnosis for childbirth, a doctor who actually was a hypnotherapist and provided that, hypnotherapy for his own OB patients, and I was fascinated. So I went and took a training from another birth hypnosis program, and it wasn't what I was looking for. I wanted the kind of hypnosis which most people don't know about, where you get into such a deep state of hypnosis that you can actually have surgery without medical anesthetics. And the reason people would want to do that is because they're allergic to the medical anesthetics. So they work with a hypnotherapist ahead of time and get into a somnambulistic state of hypnosis, and then they hear the proper suggestions. Hypnotic suggestions are directives to the subconscious mind that literally retrain and reprogram the inner mind to a whole new belief system about specific things. So in that case, it would be that the surgeon's knife just feels like a little tingling and that sort of thing. And it works very well for a lot of people. So that's what I was looking for childbirth education. And I went and took Gerald Kine's painless childbirth program. He's a master. He's passed, bless him. Master hypnotherapist who literally created a program for women by sitting down and talking to women and asking them what would they like if they could have anything, for their birthing. And so he wrote a lot of that into his program, and it's usually used for hypnotherapists one-on-one in their office with a mom. And I asked him if I could take that program and put it into a childbirth education program, um, to make a birth hypnosis program that was more along the lines of hypnoanesthesia. And he said, I can't wait to see what you produce. And that was a long time ago.
Wow.
So I did. I created Hypnobabies, and it is a complete childbirth education program, which is very important. You need to have your childbirth education at the same place that you get your birth hypnosis completely, so that there will be one birth philosophy and one set of techniques and ideas and language that is very important for the conscious mind and the subconscious mind to literally retrain. And it's been fantastic. It's just took on a life of its own. And although we don't do advertising hardly ever, just by word of mouth, Hypnobabies has become phenomenal
Wow.
across the globe.
You've made
So
such a huge impact on, so many lives. It's just,
thank you.
yeah, you
It's
obviously
very
have.
gratifying to be a part of,
Yeah.
to Kathy. It's amazing
Yeah.
to be a part of helping women. And anybody who
Mm.
helps women have a better birthing is a hero in my book. I don't care what you
Yeah.
teach, I don't care what you do. If you're out there trying to help moms have a better birthing, that's, hero behavior in my book.
Yeah,
So
I totally agree. You're actually changing outcomes, and that's phenomenal. So look, so for the viewers here today, how the format's going to work today is that we're going to be having a bit of a casual chat, and I've certainly got a few questions that I'm wanting to put in front of Kerry. And so everybody watching live, do feel free to put your questions in as well into that Q&A section. There's a little button at the bottom of your screen, so you can type in any questions. And of course, as usual, we'd love to know where everybody's from, who's live. So do go into the chat and let us know who you are and your role and where you are in the world. And so we're going to get going on a bunch of different things that we want to cover off on this very precious topic. And so all feel free to sort of put your questions in there, and we'll make sure that we get them answered before the end of today, before the end of the session. So let's get to the really basic question of just what is hypnosis. Like, if we look at the topic of hypnosis before we look at the topic of hypnosis for fertility, really sort of maybe answering those questions of what is hypnosis, what are some of the myths around hypnosis, what's meant by hypnosis versus self-hypnosis, how might you feel during a hypnosis session, all that sort of thing would be really great to understand a little bit before we kind of head into that topic of hypnosis for fertility.
okay, well, basically hypnosis is a state of focused concentration. So when we relax the body and the mind together, we can access a part of the mind that is not usually something that we do access. So the conscious mind is what we're talking with, what we're viewing this webinar with, making judgments about. And it is what basically is our day-to-day state of mind. But the subconscious is behind that. And it's kind of like a 5-year-old child where it's very literal, and it can believe and change things the way that we want it to by accessing it. So in hypnosis, we relax the body and then we relax the mind, and then we can get past what's called the critical faculty. And the critical faculty is kind of like the guardian, and it lets in little bits of and pieces of things to the subconscious mind all the time, But what we want it to do is take a nap
Mm.
and let us access the subconscious mind fully. And in that way, we give it directives, which are called hypnosis suggestions, and it retrains the subconscious mind for whatever effect we want. So a lot of people, talking about myths, a lot of people
Mm.
think that hypnosis is like stage hypnosis. And although that's one type of hypnosis, it's really more like entertainment. And that's great. It's a lot of fun. Um, but therapeutic hypnosis is different. And it helps with anything from phobias to weight loss, stop smoking, and of course, childbirth. And the way that is done is completely different than being up on a stage and acting goofy.
Mm.
So we access the subconscious mind by becoming very relaxed. We have to sit in a cushy chair like what I'm in, put our heads back, and just listen to the suggestions that take us into hypnosis. And then we access the subconscious mind and give it directives to whatever it is we want to do. So it's
Right.
what it's not
Mm-hmm.
is it's not a religious thing at all. We're in states of hypnosis every day, all the time. So if you've ever been reading a book and gotten engrossed in it, or watched a movie and you realize somebody's calling you for dinner way out there, you were in hypnosis. If you're doing video games, anyone who's watching or playing a video game is deeply in hypnosis, very, very focused. Um, Reading the internet, just watching a screen of any kind, no matter what you're doing with your eyes going back and forth, you enter a state of hypnosis. And of course, the one that everybody recognizes so wonderfully well is when you've been driving and you're just kind of thinking about something else. It's maybe a route that you take all the time, and all of a sudden you're at your destination. You've actually been in hypnosis, in a state of hypnosis, and your subconscious mind drove you there. So
Right. I
we've
think
all been
that's
in.
so interesting that you're talking about those everyday type of activities. And, a lot of people would have no idea that that is basically us in hypnosis at that point. It's already happening.
Exactly. And
Mm.
anytime you're just dreaming about going to Hawaii, you're just daydreaming, you enter a light state of hypnosis. And there's different states of brainwave activity. The alpha state is one that we get into. It's a light state, and we get into it, watching television, you're just
Mm.
relaxing, watching a movie, things like that. But with the kind of hypnosis that we use, we take it down several levels to a theta state where the brain waves are much slower. And in that state, we can create a somnambulistic state where hypnoanesthesia can be created, or we can, for instance, with fertility hypnosis, access the subconscious mind and literally retrain it to produce certain effects. And
Okay,
we'll.
so let's go on to that topic then. What I noticed that within, all of your work, you really do refer to it as fertility and not infertility, which obviously is a very intentional thing. So why do you use that language right at the very start?
I want to be really sensitive here because there are people who are experiencing infertility out there,
Mm.
and I recognize that and I acknowledge that. What I would really love is for everybody, whether you're working with people who are experiencing infertility, or whether you are a person who is trying to get pregnant or their partner, to think of it as fertility now, because the subconscious mind really does not process negatives very well. And so, what we want to always give it is a goal. what is it you want? You want fertility. So if
Right.
the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are in agreement about the fact that we want fertility, we're going to be more focused consciously and subconsciously on fertility instead of infertility.
Yes. So it's really saying it's not about what you don't want, it's about what you want. So it's not about thinking on the fact that you don't want infertility, it's about focusing on the fact that you do want fertility.
Well, and I
Yeah.
mean, you used a great word, don't. So
Mm.
that is something that we hope people can work out of their language, because the
Yeah.
minute you say don't, the subconscious mind jumps over it to the rest of the phrase.
Right.
Okay. Like a mom would say to a kid, don't go in the street. And what the subconscious mind hears is go in the street,
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't process the negatives as well or in the same way as it does a positive phrase. So what would you say? You would say, stay on the sidewalk, it's safer. And that's what we do in
Right.
Hypnobabies, in all of our affirmations, all of our hypnosis directives. We say it in a positive way, and we encourage our moms to always think of what they want and not what they're afraid is going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
because literally the subconscious wants to give you what you are focusing on.
Yes.
It
And
wants to,
if
and it
you
will
are a
work
student,
towards that.
yes, and if you're a student of the law of attraction, then that's crosses straight over into that realm as well. That it's you're focusing on what you're not wanting, and you need to be focusing on what you are wanting.
Well, any of us need to focus on what we want and not what we don't want.
Yeah.
You know, if your goal is to buy a Cadillac, then you are not going to spend any time researching VW bugs. You
Mm-hmm.
are going to focus everything that you have on how can I get that Cadillac, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just a goal in life. Well, if our goal is to become pregnant, then we need to focus everything we have on being pregnant, holding our baby. What do we want? And the
Mm-hmm.
more we focus and concentrate on what we want, the more that inner mind is going to help you produce it, because it's going to produce hormones and chemicals that you need to go right along with that. And that's where fertility hypnosis comes in and shines so beautifully well.
Yeah, that's where its benefits come through. So could you maybe explain sort of from a more from a practical kind of way, you know, when you as a practitioner have got somebody who is struggling with their fertility, what sort of things are you doing with them with hypnosis that perhaps, you know, another practitioner somewhere else in the world could use some of those ideas, or you know, translate it through? So I'm just sort of wondering, you know, how the hypnosis, is it perhaps affirmations that you're using, or how, what could other people around the world adopt from it?
Well, first of all, this amazing program was developed. The one that we have at Hypnobabies, it's called the Fertility Enhancement Program, was developed by Tricia Fuller, and she's in Canada. She's one of our Hypnobabies instructors, who's actually a hypnotherapist and a hypnotherapist trainer, therapy trainer. And she developed this program because she realized, and this is important for everybody to understand, if you're using hypnosis for fertility, there has to be acknowledgement of each phase throughout a woman's cycle. So she literally created 4 tracks, one for each week of the cycle, and 4 affirmations tracks to go with it. So there is a track that is specifically for ovulation. There is one for conception, the week of conception, the way the body and mind can work together towards that. There's one that's basically for harmony and peace, about everything having to do with fertility and the goal of fertility and the goal of pregnancy. And then there is one called Loving Your Period, so that if a person does not become pregnant that month, they still can have peace about it and release the stress and the tension of that, on top of having a specific track for each week of the cycle. Each of the affirmations tracks goes right along with that. So you're listening in a state of hypnosis to these directives to your subconscious mind that help for you to produce the right kind of chemicals in the body, the right kind of hormones to keep you relaxed, to keep you ovulating, to keep conception and implantation and all of that happening. And then during the day, like just when you're even driving, affirmations can be listened to while driving where hypnosis tracks cannot. These affirmations literally are retraining your conscious mind to stay in a state of positive awareness about that week, about the work that we're doing subconsciously that week. And it's just huge for retraining people to help you have a more positive state of mind. Because anytime we're sitting and focusing on what we don't have, like I said, the subconscious mind is thinking, well, that's what she wants. And that's just not true. So what you have to do is keep your conscious mind in sync with your subconscious. So it's important, I would say, to people who work with fertility clients and they want to create any sort of hypnosis tracks, it needs to be more than one track for them to listen to. It needs to be this sort of thing. And in addition to that, of course, in our fertility program, Tricia created 2 tracks for the father of the baby.
Oh, I was going to ask about that. What about the men?
That's right.
Yeah, I guess how hypnosis can be helpful.
It's to help them keep in a positive state of mind as well. And it has been proven in research that stress and anxiety can actually affect testosterone levels and sperm production. So we have a track for the dads to listen to. That is a hypnosis track that they listen to every day, and they can do it when they go to sleep. We'll talk about that in a second. And an affirmations track to play during the daytime as well, so that it will keep their subconscious mind in line and in sync with their conscious mind. So let me just say this really quickly. It's always important to listen to hypnosis safely. So in a completely relaxed and fully supported position like I'm in right now, never walking, driving, doing yoga, exercising, showering. We had that one come up as well. But it's very important to know that if there wasn't any other time of the day to listen to a hypnosis track, that putting it on when you go to sleep is excellent. It's called sleep training, and you can go to sleep to it because the whole first part of the track is going to be a relaxation. So you want to relax anyway. And then as you fall asleep, there's no critical faculty, which is that middle guy, the guardian. It's gone automatically.
You've got direct access.
Exactly. And then oftentimes our moms and dads will wake up feeling really, really positive, like a change has taken place, even overnight, because their subconscious was listening. Now, that said, we don't want you to play it on a loop all night long and try to listen to it all night long, because the brain needs a break. It takes that time during sleep to process, and we don't want to interfere with that. So it's not going to be on a loop. Once a night is fine. And then, you know, I, I don't want to say it works like magic. It helps. Hypnosis for fertility is not a cure for infertility. It really helps to lower the stress levels. And what that does is taking stress and anxiety out of the picture allows that flow of hormones that you really, really need.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a lot of people out there, and I really need to say this. They've been told, just relax and you'll get pregnant. This is light years beyond that. This is relaxing and literally retraining the subconscious mind to help you. So it goes right along with other things that you're doing, eating really, really well, staying away from chemicals and smoke and all those things you're doing to prepare your body for pregnancy. And it also goes well with IVF. And I wanted to make sure that I said that as well, because they actually have research now that shows that when people are using hypnosis and are therefore much more relaxed and free of stress and anxiety, it helps the entire process of IVF to flow. The chemicals, the hormones, everything is there that is necessary, and it actually helps that process. So we're not saying don't do that. We're saying it can be used along with IVF and other treatments for fertility.
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. And it's so very true, you know, that isn't it, that when women are trying to get pregnant, and other people are aware of that journey for them, you know, so often they'll make that comment, oh, well, you just probably need to relax a bit more. And as a woman, you know, who's struggling with fertility, gosh, you just feel like you just want to slap them. You're like, but I know I need to relax. Stop telling me to relax. And what I love about what you're talking about is it's something very practical, that, you know, being told to relax and actually having a way to relax are two different things. So I love the practicality of what you're talking about there. Now, another thing that sort of comes into this is the vagus nerve. And I know that you've got information there that relates to fertility. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
You know, I realize that I can't explain this as well as I should,
Oh,
but it is a part of the brain that here's what I would suggest. Everybody go out and look on Amazon. There are some really inexpensive but super important books out there about the vagus nerve. And it helps to control different parts of what we do, what we see, what we feel, the hormones we produce, all of that things. We can actually heal different parts of the body by understanding how the vagus nerve works. And I can't explain it as well as I should. I'm not going to actually go there. But I did want to say for everybody to research it. If you
right.
are working on fertility, you're working with fertility patients, please research the vagus nerve.
Okay, excellent. All right. I did a interview just recently with Dr. Emma Parry, who is a very, very senior Australasian obstetrician. And she made the comment, she goes, yes, you know, like, if I don't know something, I'm just going to admit I don't know it, and I'll say, I will go and find it out. She said, I think as we get older, we realize that there's just, you know, so much you don't know, and you're prepared to say you don't know it. And so I love how you just said, you know, That's not my expertise, but I know it's an important thing, you know.
I wanted to make sure people understand that it's important,
Well,
but I
yes,
couldn't explain it the way that it needs to be explained
yeah,
without taking a half an hour and
yes,
probably doing it the wrong way.
yeah.
So it's just something for everybody to really look into, and even for other things in life, not just fertility, but it's big.
Right.
So
Okay. So everybody needs to be, particularly those involved with fertility, if they're not aware of that information, then they need to get themselves aware, is what you're saying, because it's got a
yes,
big impact. Yeah. Okay.
yes.
Excellent. All right. So just to, if anybody does have any other questions that because some questions, of course, we end up answering as we go in these sessions, and but if you have any particular questions for Kerry, you know, please do type them into that Q&A button. And now there's also something else that we hear of, and that's negative thought replacement. So what's that, and what's that all about?
Well, I think a lot of us have the propensity to sit and dwell on negative things about ourselves. For instance, I'm so short, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart. And instead, we really literally need to say stop, every time a negative thought comes in. And it's just called thought replacement or replacement of thought. And you acknowledge that you had that thought about yourself, but then you ask yourself, does that really serve me? And it doesn't. You'll find that it doesn't serve you well. So then you replace the thought immediately with something really positive about yourself. Well, I'm really good at golf. you know, I'm, a great mother. Uh, Whatever it is, you replace that and you will find immediately that your feelings follow. So
Yes.
everybody right now can take a moment, if you will, and think of somebody or something that really bugs you. Okay, so just bring it to mind and think of that thing or that person, why what they are and what happened, whatever it is, really bugs you. And then think about how you're feeling right now once you've had that thought. Now I want you to switch it, say stop to yourself, switch it over to something that has brought you joy, something, the birth of your last child, getting married, seeing somebody that you love for the first time in a long time, something that brings you or brought you joy. Now, how are you feeling? You're feeling differently because of the thoughts that you just had in your head. So what we want to do is always have positive thoughts. And this goes way beyond positive thinking, okay? Because it's literally you helping to retrain your own self to have a positive belief system about, in this case, fertility. So if there was ever a thought, well, I'll never get pregnant. Stop. Ask yourself, does that serve me? It does not. Change the thought to, I see myself holding my beautiful child and it just feels so beautiful. And now you're feeling wonderful. Instead of fearful, instead of negative, instead of frustrated, whatever that other thing brought you. So it's just basically changing your thoughts in the moment. It goes beyond affirmations. It goes beyond just listening to hypnosis tracks. It's literally you changing your own trajectory.
Yeah. And that is I'm very familiar myself personally with what you're talking about. And I've come at it from a slightly different angle, from the Abraham Hicks angle, if people are familiar with some of that information. But yeah, it is. It makes such a difference when, of course, you're going to have a negative thought or emotion at times. Of course we will. But when you do, it's about sort of being consciously aware of it and going, okay, that's not a great feeling. Let's think about something else. And it's incredibly powerful. Absolutely. So tell us also where hypnosis can be useful, perhaps within childbirth and within the postpartum. I think, probably a lot of us are aware of hypnosis as a tool, or hypnobirthing is a pretty known word, and I tend to myself have referred to it as meditative labor, and it's a most amazing thing, isn't it, to watch women when they are using those, that tool. It's amazing. They just get into the zone and their cervix just opens so quickly. It's phenomenal. But perhaps with a postpartum time, that is an area that I think we are generally way less familiar about, that we could be using hypnosis and benefits there. Any particular ways that you would be suggesting use for that?
Well, actually, I'm glad you asked. Our moms actually use their Hypnobabies hypnosis for after pains, to help with those, to help with even bleeding after birth. Not that we don't want the mom to bleed, but if there was anything that was excess, the mind is amazing. I mean, first responders know about this.
Yeah,
Sometimes they can literally say, stop bleeding. And because the subconscious mind is so forward, when there's some sort of a trauma happening, the person will stop bleeding. But anyway, so we do use hypnosis for breastfeeding success. That is one of our tracks. And it's important that moms understand that if they were to get that track, that they're not listening to it while they're nursing the baby. They're listening to it at another time of day, even while they're sleeping, and it helps them to have a more comfortable experience breastfeeding, to produce lots of milk, easy letdown, that sort of thing. But also, we have an After Your Baby Comes track that helps with moms just being in sync with being a new mom, sleeping in sync with their babies, feeling confident about being a new mother. And that is tremendous. It's a tremendous
And if they, for whatever reason, are not able to access those tracks, what tools would you be recommending they using when they need to rely on some other way to access that information, or way to access that mindset?
There are wonderful parenting affirmations out there. If you do a search on the internet for parenting affirmations, or even new mom affirmations, then print some out and put them different places all over your house, and especially next to your bed, the last thing that you see. An affirmation of, I am a great mother. I feel great about my own intuition. I know what my baby needs. I give my baby what my baby needs. There are so many things that will really bolster your own confidence about
that is so
being
powerful.
a new
I love
mother.
that. I love that last one you just said, I give what my baby needs, because look, at the end of the day, I would say that particular worry, especially for first-time mothers, really screws with their head sometimes, and as a midwife going to do home visits in that postnatal scene, you can just see that their biggest concern about themselves is, am I giving my baby what it needs? You know, and if only there was a translator sort of thing that could just say, this is what your baby needs right now. And you know, just using those such simple affirmations. I love some of those ones you're suggesting for the postpartum. I wonder what some examples of the affirmations, going back to fertility, what are sort of some of the affirmations that you'd say then?
I have some great ones that I printed out because this is really cool. If I can find them. Uh, hold on, everybody. Here it is. With our Hypno Babies fertility program, there is a handout that you get that tells you all about how to use the program, what each track is for, and what each affirmations track is for. But then you get some really cool affirmations for each of the weeks. You could print these out. I don't know if you can see that. It's probably backwards. I believe it's backwards, isn't it? So, so this would be for the fertility, harmony, and balance week, which is just the baseline of our fertility program.
Yeah.
I love my beautiful body. I am in harmony with my inner desires. I love and appreciate all of my bodily functions. Every part of my body functions perfectly. I love my ovaries. I love my uterus. I love my fertile body, that sort of thing. But then as
That's
you move on,
wonderful. I
I
love that.
know.
Yeah, it's really great. But I love all the specifics, you know. That's, yeah, it's great.
And the affirmations that she wrote for easy ovulation week.
Mm-hmm.
My ovaries and uterus are vibrant with healthy, free-flowing energy. My egg easily travels down my fallopian tube to be fertilized. My egg naturally accepts a healthy sperm to unite with, and so on about the uterine lining.
Right.
And I love and encourage my body every day. So these things are each in sections, and you can take them and place them around your house to say during the day as well, so that you can literally see them. Because some people respond more to listening to the affirmations, and some
Mm-hmm.
people would like to see them and read
Mm-hmm.
them themselves. So we have that for you as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. And you know, it really comes back to that whole holistic care, that, you know, health is not just about your physiology, it's also about your, you know, how your wellness with your psychology, spiritually, emotionally, you know, and you do certainly feel that, particularly for couples who you know, are going through the IVF process, is that, you know, there's these other complementary things that they can be doing, which gives that whole rounded care, you know. So very powerful. It's fascinating. And if you, what sort of feedback have you had from, obviously you've had a lot of clients over the years, but if you sort of summarize it as to, you know, what people will say when they have used hypnosis as part of their fertility journey, what's the sort of the common reaction that they end up with in relation to that?
Well, I can say with 100% certainty that it's always really positive, that they
Wow.
feel so much more relaxed and in sync with their body,
Mm.
to be affirming that it works really well, and you know that it's going to accept whether it's a natural conception or IVF or any of that, that they feel much more calm and confident about it, and that the affirmations every single day help to keep them focused on a brand new thought pattern about fertility instead of the negative thoughts that they were having before, which helps their quality of life. And of course, many of them have gotten pregnant. And so we hear those stories as
Yeah.
well. And it's very
Yeah.
gratifying. And then they go on to do Hypnobabies and have a beautiful birth. So there you have it.
That's fabulous. Oh, look, it's so interesting, and it's so in line with so many other thoughts of what's going on out there, and how our body functions, and how our mind functions, and how our emotions and our hormones all function. If there's one thing that's become very, very, very clear over time, is that the more that we study, and the more we research, and the more we learn, the more we realize we don't even understand. But we know something works, but we don't always understand how it works. And that would, we can put it into that area. So why worry about the double blind trial and the random control thing? Look, just do it, because it's going to make you feel good. And that's a powerful thing in itself. And so just wonderful. Look, we have answered the questions that have come along. So we're going to be winding up soon, but I wanted to just, with those that are viewing live, is that if there is anything that we haven't covered off, do let us know now. And Kerry, is there anything in these last few minutes that you would like to add that we haven't really got to fully today?
I think we've covered everything I wanted to talk about. I
Good.
just wanted to also say to everybody out there, we're living through some very, very strange times.
Mm,
And at Hypnobabies, we have more tracks in our store than just for hypnosis for childbirth or postpartum and all of that. We have a lot more. And one of the ones that I want to make everybody aware of is our Eliminate Stress and Anxiety track, which is free. And it's going to be free for as long as the world continues to be crazy with the COVID-19 virus.
right.
So what that does is, if you listen to it daily, and it needs to be listened to daily in a safe way, remember, never while driving, then you're also literally retraining your mind and body and being given a cue for instant stress and anxiety relief. It's a post-hypnotic cue. So anytime you're feeling stress and anxiety, you can use that cue and then you'll feel much better. So we offer
Okay.
that to everybody. If you go to hypnobabies-store.com and look under the menu at the top that says Hypnosis for Life, you will find it there, and it is free. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. Thank you very much, Kerry. And so that's a particular track that they can download, or how does it work?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And
They
how
just
long is the track?
It's, I think, 35, 36 minutes,
Okay.
something like
Cool.
that. So
So that's that
you need a,
half an hour that they could be
yeah,
listening to before going to bed, and that's basically free
yes,
for everybody. And
yes.
that's really great, because boy, you're so right. Man, what a crazy, crazy year 2020 has been around the world. That's for sure. Um, yeah, so
And we've had thousands and thousands of
mm,
people download that track and tell us how much it has helped them just get through this crazy time.
yeah,
And so we want to make sure as many people as want it know about it. So,
fantastic. That's awesome. Yeah, and actually, yeah, that's just wonderful. We've sort of done a similar thing on Motherwise, that we've got free COVID information relating to antenatal and pregnancy and whatnot. So, yeah, it's just everybody helping everybody this year. And although this year is almost up, and of course, in a few months' time, we will be 2021, and everybody's going to be looking forward to a whole different set of circumstances. But so that's wonderful. And look, thank you so much again, Kerry, for your time. If there's one thing that fertile women who are wanting to be fertile get really sick about hearing, is people telling them to relax. Oh, you just need to relax and then you'll fall pregnant. because they know it's true. And they know they need to relax, but it's hard sometimes to find those tools that are really practical, to make that, to make you feel like you're covering that base in a way, you know, and you cover your base with nutrition, and you cover your base with IVF, and you cover your base with exercise, but trying to help your mind, you know, be quiet with the negative stuff, and having some practical tools to be able to do is just, yeah, it's super, super wonderful. So, you know, thank you for everything that you do for women. It's so wonderful. So look, that is everything today. And oh, somebody's asking, did they miss the talk? If you only just signed in, yeah, you have. We're finishing up, so I'm not sure. We did have some issues over the local times, which we did correct, and hopefully the Zoom would have sent to everybody the correct local times. Yeah, we've worked really hard here at Cure, I have to say, to try and get this all correct, and it's pretty much, it seemed like as soon as we're putting out a poster and a notification of it, there's another correction somewhere else in the world. And I think that it's just that slip in and out of daylight saving around the planet that impacted us. So we've had a few times that we've had to correct what we first looked up for that date as time, and then find like another week or two later that that date and time is going to be a different date and time, or different date, a different time, I should say. So, but look, I just got a notice an hour ago that said it would be starting in an hour. Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. So just to let everybody know, this, as normal, the you will all receive tomorrow in 24 hours from now a recorded a link to the recorded video of this webinar. So you haven't missed out. It's all going to be there and available for you to watch another time. And look, you know, we wish everybody a wonderful rest of the week. I apologize to anybody else that may be watching this on the video later and there was confusion over the time. We've got a very dedicated volunteer team here who work really hard to get these, to cross the T's and dot the I's, and sometimes even with using the internet to check all this stuff out, there's still stuff ups. So look, thank you everybody, and thank you so much, Kerry. Anything you want to finish off with there?
Just want to thank everybody who did attend for coming, because it's very important. It's heartbreaking to be, you know, wanting fertility so badly, wanting a pregnancy so badly. And if you know anybody who is going through that, you know, just let them know there's complementary ways of adding to whatever it is that they're already doing. So thank you for having me.
Thanks for having you here again, Kerry. It's just wonderful. And look, I wish everybody a wonderful rest of your week. And hopefully we will see you all next week at the next webinar. Bye, everybody. See you.